Robert Johnson was born Robert Dodds sometime around May 8, 1911, the 11th child born to Julia Dodds. Robert's brothers and sisters had all been born of a marriage between Julia and Charles Dodds. However, Charles was not his father. A lynch mob forced Charles to flee Mississippi from Memphis, and Robert was born of an affair not long after. For years, his real father was a complete mystery to him. Robert shuffled between Mississippi and Arkansas, while his mother sought work in the Delta's numerous cotton plantations, punctuated by brief visits to Memphis. His life finally settled down when his mother married a sharecropper named Dusty Willis, who moved the family to the Leatherman Plantation near Commerce, Mississippi. Robert enrolled in the Commerce School under the name Robert Spencer, Spencer being the surname Charles Dodds adopted after he moved to Memphis. Most folks in Commerce knew, or at least suspected, however, that Charles was not Robert's real father. The locals took to calling him Little Robert Dusty, after his stepfather, but he learned the truth eventually. In 1929, the newly minted Robert Johnson married a local girl named Virginia Travis. Virginia was just 16 years old at the time, but it wasn't long before she was pregnant with the couple's first child. Eager to give his young family the stable home he never had, Robert settled down to work on the Leatherman plantation. It seemed Robert Johnson would lead a regular life, but fate had other plans. Sadly, this life was not to be, and both mother and child were lost in childbirth. A second marriage to Coletta Craft proved just as short-lived and tragic. Coletta passed within a year of their union. After these losses, Johnson suffered tremendous grief and doubt. He began to believe he was cursed, destined to be alone, and he resolved to abandon normal family life forever. In this tragic period, only one thing brought him any joy: music. Johnson loved music, especially the raunchiest country blues that Charlie Patton, Son House, and other older musicians played at Saturday night dance parties and juke joints. Johnson studied these masters and dreamed of one day escaping the Leatherman farm. Little did he know that day would come soon enough. Johnson had already mastered the harmonica and the jaw hug, but he knew if he wanted to make it as a bluesman, he needed a guitar. Once he saved up enough to buy one of his own, Johnson begged the older musicians to let him play. While they were happy to share the stage with him, one problem remained: he sucked. In one documentary, the legendary Son House recalled his audiences chastising him for letting Johnson play. Folks, they'd come and say, "Why don't you go out and make that boy put that thing down? He's running us crazy." Finally, he left. He ran off from his mother and father and went over in Arkansas someplace or other. At least that's what they thought. One day, Johnson just disappeared. Most assumed he moved to Arkansas with his parents or had gone to study in Memphis. The locals shrugged and life went on without him. When he suddenly reappeared in Mississippi 6 months later, Johnson had changed. Was he taller, new clothes, a tattoo? No one could put a finger on it, but one thing was for certain. Whatever changed, one thing was undeniable. Robert Johnson had become the best guitarist in all of Mississippi. He could play and sing better than anyone. Johnson's sudden mysterious transformation from annoying noisemaker to master bluesman sparked disturbing rumors. Rumors that defied the legend of Robert Johnson forever. Did he sell his soul at the crossroads? Johnson's sudden transformation caused the locals to speculate. Delta folklore held that at midnight at the crossroads of Highways 61 and 49, you could sell your soul in exchange for fame and fortune. Had Johnson done it? What else could explain the gift? A pact with the devil made Johnson very dangerous and very exciting. He had famous fans. Those who witnessed Johnson's transformation included a young man named McKinley Morganfield. Morganfield grew up on the Stovall Plantation near Clarksdale, Mississippi, where Johnson performed frequently. Johnson's vivid performances inspired him to play the blues himself, and McKinley Morganfield became none other than Muddy Waters. He never denied the rumors. In reality, Johnson probably learned to play like Ike Zimmerman, an Arkansas bluesman who was similarly said to have gained his skills by supernatural means. Johnson knew better than to let the truth get in the way of a good story. However, He never denied the rumors and even played them up with songs like Crossroad Blues. Johnson had a repertoire of popular songs for entertaining, but he also wrote his own material. For blues custom, many of his songs were based on pre-existing tunes. Come On Into My Kitchen has a clear antecedent in Sitting on Top of the World, for instance, while Dust My Broom borrows from I Believe I'll Make a Change. But no one who'd come before him did it quite like Robert Johnson. Certainly, any blues musician already strayed toward the dark side, and folks considered his tragically short-lived marriage as proof that something had gone wrong between Robert Johnson and God. The signs were already there, but Johnson's own compositions provided fuel to the rumors of his deal with the devil. Johnson's songs took familiar music and set it to his own grim narrative. Collectively, Crossroad Blues, Me and the Devil Blues, and Hellbound on My Trail tell the story of a man who befriends the devil and is now pursued by demons at every step. Further songs like If I Had Possession Over Judgment Day signaled a grim fate for the singer. Now that he was the best guitarist, the best singer, and the best showman in Mississippi, Johnson was finally good enough to make a living as a traveling musician. With another blues guitarist named Johnny Shines, Johnson performed all over the United States and even into Canada, picking up friends, fans, and girlfriends along the way. But everywhere he went, the same dark whispers followed him. In 1936, he traveled to San Antonio, Texas to record for the Vocalion label. He recorded 16 songs during the session, including Crossroad Blues and Me and the Devil Blues. In 1937, Johnson traveled to San Antonio, Texas, where Law had set up a makeshift recording studio in his hotel room. Over the course of 3 days, Johnson recorded 16 songs, including I Believe I'll Dust My Broom, Crossroad Blues, and Sweet Home Chicago, 3 songs which would become standards in any blues repertoire. But Johnson was just getting started. Johnson's songs were released under various small labels like Vocalion, Conquer, and Perfect. Of Johnson's San Antonio recordings, Terraplane Blues was the closest thing to a hit, selling 5,000 copies throughout the South. The success of Terraplane Blues was enough to necessitate a second recording session. Johnson's star was on the rise, but it was going to burn out all too soon. The following summer, Johnson met up with Law in Dallas. Johnson recorded 13 more songs as well as alternate versions of most of them. Once again, several of the songs would become blues classics, including Love in Vain and Milk Cow's Calf Blues. The Dallas recordings brought Johnson's total catalog to 29 songs. It should have been just the beginning of an enormous collection, but devil or no, Robert Johnson's days were numbered. One song in particular from the Dallas recording session stands out. Hellhound on My Trail, released under the Vocalion label, became Johnson's signature song. NPR named it one of the 100 most influential songs of the 20th century American music, and the song earned its own induction into the Blues Foundation's Hall of Fame. Johnson wrote Hellhound on My Trail from the perspective of a heartsick man pursued by his demons. Johnson's recordings have remained influential over the years, but in 2010, musicologists made a stunning revelation. We've been listening to Johnson's music all wrong. These musicologists claim that producers sped up Johnson's records by as much as 20%. Audiences would have heard a much lower, slower version of Johnson's songs. Producers frequently sped up blues songs in the 20s and the 30s in an attempt to make the often quiet, somber music sound more energetic and exciting. We will never know if Johnson's records were sped up intentionally, but we have to admit, listening to a Johnson song at the right speed reveals a whole new emotional dimension. He was a ladies' man. Johnson had another powerful thirst: women. As he traveled from town to town, he established a whole network of steady girlfriends throughout the South. Some of these relationships were regular as marriages. Some of these women were already married. Johnson's lack of restraint in this regard would come back to bite him hard. The scant photographic evidence of Robert Johnson was enough to give one doctor an insight into Johnson's health. Citing his unusually long fingers and lazy eye, Dr. David Cannell suggested Johnson may have suffered from Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder which can lead to a heart trouble. Pretty appropriate for a bluesman. Johnson died in Greenwood, Mississippi in August 1938 at the age of 27. The cause of his death is unknown. It is often rumored that he was poisoned by a jealous husband. Robert Johnson's guitar playing was highly skilled and innovative. He was a master of the slide guitar, and his playing was characterized by his intricate melodies and complex rhythms. His vocal style was also unique. He had a powerful, soulful voice that was capable of conveying a wide range of emotions. Robert Johnson's music has been highly influential, and he is considered one of the most important blues musicians of all time. His songs have been covered by every blues musician and many artists, including Eric Clapton, Led Zeppelin, and the Rolling Stones. Johnson's music had a profound impact on popular music. His songs have been covered by countless artists, and they have influenced the development of rock, blues, and R&B music. Robert Johnson is a true legend of the blues. His music is still as relevant today as it was when he first recorded it. He is a testament to the power of music to express the human experience. His songs were often dark and brooding, and they dealt with themes of love, loss, and death. However, they also had a sense of humor and a sly wit. In light of his influence over a whole generation of blues-based rock and rollers, Robert Johnson was one of the first inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when it opened in 1986. Johnson was inducted as an early influence alongside the singing brakeman Jimmy Rogers and boogie-woogie piano stylist Jimmy Yancey. Johnson's career was just taking off when suddenly it came to a screeching halt. Speculation and rumor surround this event, but this much is certain. On August 15, 1938, Johnson performed at a barn dance outside of Greenwood, Mississippi. 3 days later, his body was found on the side of the road. He was just 27. He was the first modern member of the Grim 27 Club. Before long, the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain would join him.